Alright guys, so looking at number 1, since they're separated by a plus sign, typically you would distribute this, but because anything times a positive 1 is just itself, you just have to combine like terms. 4x squared plus 5x squared is 9x squared. 9x plus 2x is 11x. And since minus 1 is the only thing left, that's a minus 1. For this one, you must distribute the negative. So this is 4x cubed plus 9y minus 6x cubed minus 2y. So 4x cubed minus 6x cubed makes negative 2x cubed. And 9y minus 2y is a positive 7y. For number 3, 5x cubed plus 5x cubed. Since we're adding, we're going to add the numbers in front. Those are called the coefficients. And the exponent does not change because we're just adding. Only when we are multiplying do the exponents manipulate. Distribute the negative here. So this is 9y cubed plus y minus 1. Negative times a negative is positive 2y squared plus 8y minus 7. Since there's only one y cubed, it's 9y cubed. There's only one y squared term, so plus 2y squared. We have y plus 8y, which is a 9y. And negative 1 minus 7 is negative 8. Okay. For 5, the perimeter of a pentagon is that 3 sides have the following side length. Choose all the pairs that could be the 2 missing sides. So perimeter means add all the sides. So we know that we have 14x plus 9 is equal to 4x plus 3x plus x. That would be an 8x. And negative 2 plus 5 is a positive 3. And subtract 8x from both sides to get 6x plus 6. So this is what's left over when we subtract the 2 sides, or the 3 sides. So the 2 sides that are left over must add to be 6x plus 6. So 5x plus x is 6x, so A works. 3x plus 3x is 6x, but negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6, and we want positive 6. So that doesn't work. 4x plus 2x is 6x. 7 minus 1 is 6, so that works. And 5 plus 1 is 6, so that works as well. Okay. Choose all expressions that are equivalent. So we are going to have to first off deal with the squared because that's an exponent. So this is 3x times 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. And that's 3x times 2x is a 4x squared. Negative, or 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. Negative 1 times 2x is negative 2x. And negative 1 times 1 is positive 1. So this is 3x times 4x squared minus 4x plus 1. And we now need to distribute the 3x into the inside. So 3x times 4x squared, that is 12x cubed. 3x times negative 4x is negative 12x squared. And 3x times 1 is a positive 3x. So A is equivalent. This one is just a tad different. This one, it's a 2x plus 1 squared. So this is 3x. And this one will actually become a 4x squared plus 4x plus 1 after you distribute everything. The reason why I could do that one so fast is because these would become positives instead of negative because of this part. And this becomes 12x cubed plus 12x squared plus 3x. Since this says minus and this says plus, they are not equivalent, so B does not work. Okay. For C, okay, again, double distribute these guys, and we get 3x times 4x squared plus 2x minus 2x plus, sorry, that's a minus 1, which is 3x times 4x squared minus 1. And when you distribute that, you will not get the same expression. So C doesn't work. Okay. If you notice in part D, that's the same problem as this step right here in part A. And that one worked. But just to be safe, 3x times 4x squared is 12x cubed. 3x times negative 4x is negative 12x squared. 3x times 1 is plus 3x. So D works. And since E is a fraction, you're going to divide by 3 to each of these coefficients first, and then multiply by 1. So 36 divided by 3 is 12. 12 times 1 is 12. And x times x squared is x cubed. Minus 36 divided by 3 is 12. And 12 times 1 is 12. So that's minus 12. X times x is x squared. Plus 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. And x times anything without a variable would just be x. So E works as well. Okay. Simplify by finding the products. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. Y times y is y squared. For this one, we need to make sure that we write this twice. You can't distribute in this case. X times x is x squared. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. And negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. So this is x squared minus 12x plus 36 for your final answer. Same thing with 9. This one is two binomials being multiplied to each other. So you got to write them out and double distribute. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6x. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. So that's 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. For 10, same thing. We got x plus 3y times x plus 3y. X times x is x squared. X times 3y is plus 3xy. 3y times x is plus 3xy. 3y times 3y is 9y squared. So this is x squared plus 6xy plus 9y squared, because the middle terms are like terms. 11, x times x, that's x squared. X times negative 1 is negative x. 3 times x is positive 3x. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. So x squared, negative x plus 3x is positive 2x minus 3. And for the last one, again, double distribute. 4x times 2x is 8x squared. 4x times negative 7 is negative 28x. 5 times 2 is a 10x. 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. So 8x squared minus 18x minus 35 is our final answer, because negative 28x plus 10x is negative 18x. Moving on. Got some triple distribution going on right here. 2x times x squared is 2x to the third. 2x times negative 3x is negative 6x squared. 2x times 9 is plus 18x. Then negative 3 times x squared is negative 3x squared. Negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9x. Negative 3 times 9 is a negative 27. 2x cubed has nothing to combine with. Negative 6x squared minus 3x squared, that's a negative 9x squared. 18x plus 9x, that's a 27x minus 27. For 14, again, we got to triple distribute. So x times 3x squared, that is 3x cubed. X times negative 2x is negative 2x squared. X times 1 is a positive x. 2 times 3x squared is a positive 6x squared. 2 times negative 2x is a negative 4x. And 2 times 1 is a positive 2. Combine like terms to get 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 3x plus 2. Write an expression that is equivalent. So this can be square rooted. This could be square rooted. So therefore it's difference of two squares. So the square root of y squared is y. The square root of 49 is 7. One of them's plus, one of them's minus. They need to be different signs so that way the middle term cancels each other out. Same thing right here. You have two binomials. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of y squared is y. One of them's plus, one of them's minus. Okay. Factor completely. So we got to find a GCF if we can. 8 and 3 don't have a greatest common factor, but x cubed and x squared have a common factor of x squared. So you pull x squared out. Here's 8. There were 3 x's. I pulled 2 of them out, which leaves 1 x remaining. There were 2 x's. I pulled 2 out, so there's no more x's. Done. Greatest common factor of 10 and 15 is 5. This is an x squared and an x cubed. You usually take the smaller one, so x squared comes out. This is a y and a y squared, so you just pull out a y. 10 divided by 5 is 2. There were 2 x's, you pulled 2 out. There was 1 y, you pulled that y out, so nothing's left. Minus, minus. 15 divided by 5 is 3. There were 3 x's, you pulled 2 out, so there's only 1 x left. There were 2 y's, you pulled 1 y out, so 1 y is left. For 19, since the number in front is a 1, we are going to guess and check. M squared, you have an m and an m, because those are the only two things that multiply to be m squared. Right here, we need two numbers that multiply to negative 32. So negative 32 could be 1 and 32, 2 and 16, 4 and 8. I think we have our winner. Let's have a positive 4 and a negative 8. Guess and check. 4 times m is 4m. M times negative 8 is negative 8m. And 4m minus 8m is negative 4m. So therefore, this was our answer. Number 20. So again, the first ones are d, because those are the only two things that multiply to be d squared. Negative 72. So that's 1 and 72, 2 and 36, 3 and 24. And if you look at those numbers, it looks like they have a difference of 21. So a 24 and a 3. Okay. Now, because they need to multiply to make negative 72, one of them must be negative, one of these must be positive. Look at the middle term. If you look at the middle term, you'll see that it's a positive number, which means your bigger number is often going to be the one with the positive. Let's check. Negative 3 times d is negative 3d. d times 24 is 24d. Negative 3 plus 24 is 21, so we're good. For this one, W squared, that's got to be a W and a W. We can't get around that. But 60, I need two numbers that multiply to be 60x squared. So 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15. 4 and 15 make 19, so that looks pretty good. So since they need to multiply to be x squared, this is going to be a plus 4x plus 15x. For 22, again, guess and check. X is in front. 63, we have 1 and 63, 3 and 21, 7 and 9, and those two combine to make 16, so that's a plus 7 plus 9. For this one, the front needs to multiply to be 5z squared. So we're going to have a 5z and a z. The back need to multiply to be 14. So this one's going to be a little trickier. We have 1 and 14, 2 and 7. And we need to kind of play around with this idea a little bit. I'm thinking 2 and 7. And we got to make sure they go in the right place. So if I put the 2 on the outside right here, 2 times 5 is 10. 7 times z is 7. 10, 17 should work. So I'm going to put the 2 here and the 7 here. Now, they need to multiply to make a positive 14. So this could either be a plus 7 plus 2, or it's a negative 7 negative 2. And it's going to be a minus because you can look at the middle term and see that it's negative. So negative 7, negative 2. Make sure you check. Negative 7 times z is negative 7z. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10z. And those combine to make negative 17z. Answer. Okay. If that did not work, you could try rearranging the 2 and the 7 here. Or you can try 1 and 14 as other numbers. So this next one, we've got 2w and w. There's just no way around it. Factors of 15 are 1 and 15 or 3 and 5. So I'm going to try 5 and 3, both positive, because that's positive, positive. 3 times w is 3w. 2w times 5 is 10w, and those combine to make 13w. So therefore, those are my factors. Okay. Right away, what you should notice is that there's only 2 terms instead of 3. So you should be thinking, okay, something's up here. This is difference of 2 squares. Square root of 4a squared is 2a, 2a. Square root of 25 is 5 and 5, plus minus. Same thing with 26. Square root, square root. Square root of 25 is 5x. Square root of 144 is 12. One's plus, one's minus. You could do minus plus, it doesn't matter, just as long as the signs are different. For 27, first things first, you should look for a GCF. All of these did not have a GCF prior to this, except for the first 2 problems. So 2, 4, and 30 can all be divided by 2. So that leaves you with an x squared. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And negative 30 divided by 2 is 15. So now I'm going to break this up into my 2 binomials. The front 2 need to multiply to x squared, which make it x and x. The back terms, or later terms, need to multiply to be negative 15. So I'm guessing it's going to be a 5 and a 3. But need to add to be a positive 2. Since that's positive, I think the bigger number should be positive. That's 5x, negative 3x, and 5x minus 3x is 2x. So there's our final answer. A lot of times people forget the GCF. The GCF is part of the answer. Don't forget it. For 28, they all have a GCF of 2, so that leaves a 2n squared plus 31n minus 16. And again, we need to guess and check. So it's a 2n and an n. That one is for sure. But 16 could be either 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. Okay. Now, one of the rules is when you pull the greatest common factor out in front, you shouldn't have any more common factors left over. So if you were to try 4 and 4, the front one would have a greatest common factor. So therefore, we can't use those ones because of this 2 inside the binomial. If you tried 2 and 8, well, 2 and 2 would have a GCF, 2 and 8 would have a GCF, so we know it can't be those two. If you did this, 16 cannot go right here because 2 and 16 have a GCF. So 16 must go in this part, and 1 must go in this part. Okay. Let's figure out which one's negative. Typically, since the middle part is negative, you think the bigger number must be, but let's check just to be sure. 1 times n is 1n. 2n times 16 is 32n. And to get 31, I need it to be 32 minus 1. The minus 1n connects with the 1, so that's the minus, and this is the positive 1. Final answer. Okay. If you look here, these both have x plus 3 in them. So we're going to pull an x plus 3 out in front. This had 2 x plus 3's. We took one away. So there's 1x plus 3 left. Minus, minus. This had 1x plus 3. We took it out. So the only thing that's left is the x minus 6. C is our answer. Turn the page. Okay. Same type of problem. They both have x minus 5. So we pull the x minus 5 out in front. There's still an x minus 5 left over. Minus. But when you pull this one out, you're only left with x plus 2. Okay. For this one, so we're going to, I usually like doing the double distribute first and then taking care of the 3 later. So 5x times 4x is 20x squared. 5x times 1 is plus 5x. 2 times 4x is plus 8x. 2 times 1 is plus 2. So this is 3 times 20x squared plus 13x plus 2. And then we need to distribute the 3 into every single one of them to make 60x squared plus 39x plus 6. So this first box is a 60. The last box is a 6. Oh my gosh, there's so much left to go. For 32, again, double distribute. So 3x times 2x. That's going to be a 6x squared. 3x times 7, that's a plus 21x. That's going to be a negative 2x and a negative 7. Combine like terms to make that 2 times 6x squared plus 19x minus 7. And then distribute the 2 to every single one of them to get 12x squared plus 38x minus 14. Okay, a square has a side length of that. What is the area of the square? Remember, the area of a square is length times width. But since a square has all equal sides, we're just going to multiply it by itself. So 4x times 4x is 16x squared minus 12x plus 9. And combine like terms, you get 16x squared minus 24x plus 9. And when it says write in standard form, that just means you need to have the x squared out in front. Okay. Same thing here, rectangle. So again, it's length times width. 3x minus 1 times 4x plus 3. 3x times 4x is 12x squared. 3x times 3 is plus 9x minus 4x minus 3. So this is 12x squared plus 5x minus 3 inches. Don't forget the units. Volume of each box is represented by the polynomial equation. So we have these guys. We need to factor them. They're asking for 3 factors, so that means you should factor. They all have an x in common, so pull an x out. And you're left with x squared plus x minus 6. Factor this trinomial. I need the front 2 need to multiply to x squared, so x and x. The last 2 need to multiply to negative 6, so that could be 1 and 6 or 2 and 3. Since this middle one is a 1, I'm going to go with 3 and 2, and that's positive, so the bigger number is positive. (36), again, pull out a GCF. They all can bring out a 2x. 6 divided by 2 is 3x squared. 2 divided by 2 is a 1x. 20 divided by 2 is a 10. And again, we need to guess and check. The front 2 need to multiply to be 3x squared. The back 2 need to multiply to be 10. So it's either 1, 10, or 5 and 2. Okay. So 10 times 3 would be 30. That's a little big. 5 times 3 would be 15. That's closer. 2 times 5 makes 6. Let's try that. Let's try this being a 5 and this being a 2. So we got 5 times x is 5x. 3x times 2, that is 6x. And because this middle term is negative, that means the 6x must be negative. And you can follow that line all the way to the 2, making the 2 negative and the 5 positive. So this is x plus 3, x minus 2. This one over here is 2x, 3x plus 5, x minus 2. Okay. And this one, again, same type of problem. I don't know why we have so many of these. So this is a 2m squared minus m minus 15. So these need to break down into 2m and m. 15 is 1 and 15, or 3 and 5. So let's see here. I'm thinking 3 and 5 again. I'm thinking 3, 5. This is a 5m. This is a 6m. And again, since this is negative in the middle, the bigger number needs to be negative, and that traces to the 3. So those are our 3 factors right there. Okay. In this one, x minus 5x is a negative 4x. So that would be, we'll call that step 3. Step 3 has the wrong one because this is wrong. And this should be x squared minus 4x minus 5. For 39, let's see. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. 5 times x is negative 5x. Oh, look, negative 5 times positive 3. Step 2 is wrong. That needs to be a 2x squared plus 6x minus 5x minus 15. They didn't multiply the last numbers. For this one, they pulled a 5 out of each of them, which is good. And however, this doesn't work like this. X squared needs to be an x. This would be a 3y, but it needs to be plus minus. So therefore, step 2 is wrong, and it needs to be a 5 times x plus 3y, x minus 3y, because that's a difference of two squares. The signs must be different. Pull a 2 out in front, 2x squared plus 13x plus 21. And then it looks like 3 times x is 3x. 2x7 is 14x, and those don't combine. So step 2 is where it happened. And we need to pick other numbers of 21. Uh, 21 would be a 1 and 21, or the 7 and the 3 could switch. That might be it. 7x, 7x, 3x, yep. It could be 2 times 2x plus 7 times x plus 3. Sometimes you just need to switch these two numbers around to make it work. Because if you check them out now, 7 times x is 7x, 2x times 3 is 6x, and those combine to make 13x. Okay, that's good, that's good. However, step 2 is wrong. They need to double distribute this. So this needs to be a 4x squared minus 10x plus 25. For 43, again, their step 1 is wrong because they distributed the 2. That needs to be a 2 times x plus 3 times x plus 3. And factor completely. The square root of x to the 4th is x squared. Square root of 16 is 4 plus minus. Now, you're not completely done. This is a sum of two squares. That can't go any further, but this one can. So this is x squared plus 4, and this one breaks up into two binomials. The square root of x squared is x. Square root of 4 is 2. Positive, negative. And there we are. Good luck.